There were two major issues yesterday with Prime Minister's questions, or rather with Kemi Badenoch in Prime Minister's questions. The first was that her questions were too complicated and confused and all over the place. There were too many different topics, and what she did hone in on was not expressed in any sort of pithy, clear way. You don't only need a 3 second rule when you're considering assisted dying, you need a 3 second rule when you're considering asking the Prime Minister a question. But the other issue was her arrogance. And she followed Lloyd Hatton, a tame Labour MP who'd been set up to ask a question to get the whole Prime Minister's questions flowing about maternity pay, the minimum wage, and fracking, and then Kemi Badenoch stood up and said, and I'm going to quote: "The Prime Minister can plant as many questions as he likes with his backbenchers, but at the end of the day, I am the one he has to face at the dispatch box." And it immediately made me think she'd got that the wrong way round. Of course she hadn't. She'd got it exactly the right way round. She just isn't the person to deliver that line. Because facing Kemi Badenoch is like facing what? Some sort of animated twig. It simply isn't something to fear. It's something to mock and something to ease past. And I think Keir Starmer has worked that out. This is something to tolerate, not be frightened of. There are leaders of the opposition who certainly instill fear. Kemi Badenoch is not going to be one of them. And what's extraordinary is I think she was elected because she is considered to be the sort of person who could command terror in her questioning, that she's got bite. Well, not by the evidence of yesterday. She is toothless. And if she's going to score a point, she needs to do some homework. She needs to master her brief, which probably means learning her questions. Get off the script, learn the questions. We've spent too long watching leaders of the opposition reading out their lines, from Jeremy Corbyn through Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak to a certain extent, that Rishi, when he wants to, can embellish and develop and can get off the paperwork. But Kemi Badenoch doesn't seem capable of doing that. Perhaps a week of practice wouldn't go amiss, and some serious homework, rather than making Liz Truss her mentor. She should probably go to Robert Jenrick and say, how do you do it? How do you stand up for 20 minutes and just talk? Because that probably is her only hope. Otherwise, it's going to be week after week of dullness, waiting, longing for Sir Ed Davey to stand up and save the day with questions which are delivered with a certain amount of professionalism. It's sad to see parliamentary the key moment in the parliamentary week, Prime Minister's questions, reduced to this pitiable display of professional indifference. This is what she was elected for and then given a job to do. This is what she has aspired to do and she's not up to it. And that is the bottom line. She has a few weeks to change her methodology and to practice and to put in the hard work. But this is pitiable. She thinks that Thatcher is her guide and her inspiration. Well, maybe she needs to go back and start looking at the memoirs of Thatcher, looking at the little bit of footage that exists, listening to the radio relay from the House of Commons, and realise that Thatcher knew how to do it, as did Callaghan, as did Wilson. These people were masters of the dispatch box, rather than servants of their own indifference and laziness and indolence.